Flight LA 800 is a flight from Sydney to Santiago in Chile, which stops over in Auckland. This particular flight that we were talking about is operated by a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. It's a modern airliner. It's used all over the world, including by Air New Zealand and Qantas, among others. This particular aircraft is pretty new. It was delivered in December 2015. It's only 8.5 years old, so it's a pretty new plane. Now, the incident happened while the aircraft was at a cruising altitude of 41,000 feet, and it happened around two-thirds into the flight across the Tasman. Latam says a technical problem caused a strong movement, but a passenger reportedly said the pilot told him that the instrument panel went blank for a split second. Now, it lost altitude, meaning it suddenly dropped, and passengers and crew, without warning and without seatbelts on, were thrown around, including up into the ceiling. There's a passenger, Josh Warner, he's a Kiwi. He told Newshub that it was the most terrifying thing, and the articles that you read don't really capture the intensity. People were literally flying in the cabin, he says. Now, 50 passengers, including some crew, were injured. 10 of them were taken to Middlemore Hospital. One of those is in a serious condition. One of them was taken to Auckland Hospital and one was taken to Starship Hospital as well. The aircraft, it remains out at the Auckland airport, and the Civil Aviation Authority, it will likely invest this, but it hasn't officially had the incident reported to it. Now, joining us now is aviation expert Irene King. Irene, what could you tell us about this? What could have caused this if it wasn't turbulence?
Yeah, it's a pretty unusual event. Given that they have said it's a technical issue, it could be anything from their systems having a glitch to, operator-induced glitch. So, there's a lack of specific detail here, but look, all I can say, it's very unusual.
I mean, Dreamliners, they're flying all over the world. Air New Zealand operates a whole fleet of them. Qantas operates a whole fleet of them. I mean, they're everywhere, right? Has this happened with a Dreamliner before?
Probably. I'm trying to sort of think back. This is a reasonably sophisticated aircraft, although, the Airbus is a far more sophisticated aircraft. But look, when you have so many systems operating in aircraft, it is possible. And in this case, it seems very likely, because this is so unusual, that there has been, like I say, maybe it's operator induced. We don't know.
Yeah, so what happens now? Because there's, lots of people will come out and they'll say, oh, this is what's caused it. And we've had lots of emails come in saying, well, I've heard that the autopilot turned off and then it happened. And there's going to be lots of people like that who will come up with a conclusion of what happened. But what happens now? Because the Civil Aviation Authority, I'm guessing, will investigate it. How do they get to that stage where they do officially investigate it? Because they're not.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is very unusual. It should have been reported into them by now. Now, it could be just, the late time of the day. But the first step, obviously, is with such a serious issue, with so many people injured, they have to report. So they have to report firstly into the Civil Aviation Authority, and then the Civil Aviation Authority will determine whether it should refer the matter to TAKE. Now, my view is that TAKE, being our Transport Accident Investigation Commission, may well step in because of the fact that so many people were injured, and it is a very unusual set of circumstances across the Tasman. It could be quite usual, well, more usual around the world, but look, I've never heard of so many people being injured across the Tasman.
Should the 787-9 fleet be grounded as a precaution, or is that too much?
That's why I think there should be some step up in urgency in terms of this investigation. Grounding a fleet has sort of really serious implications for a lot of passengers, the airline, and of course the economy, because these aircraft carry freight as well. But look, just the unusual nature of it, I would expect people to be in there very quickly, and I would expect Latam to be speaking and talking quite openly to the regulators, because these aircraft, they just don't throw glitches like this.
They don't. I guess it's a reminder that people should wear their seatbelts even when it's smooth flying.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, this is just absolute evidence. This aircraft is at just prior to the top of descent, so that could be a reason why so many people were up moving around, because they were going to be obviously seatbelted in within the next 15 minutes. But even so, you know, again, sure, we don't know how many crew were involved in this, and I imagine quite a few of the injuries are crew. But you know, you do encounter turbulence, and it can be quite vicious and violent.
Thank you very much, Irene. I do appreciate your time this morning. That is aviation expert Irene King. And some of the reports that have come out are quite concerning. You know, the ceiling stained with blood and the panels all dented in. And it's lucky that there were actually doctors on board.
I'm especially thinking of those who may have had children on board. It would have been incredibly traumatic.